What if control was no longer loud, but silent? Not enforced with chains, but offered with a smile? What if the greatest manipulators today don't look like tyrants? They look like leaders, friends, maybe even you? This is not history. This is a doctrine of power, reimagined for the modern world, where influence hides in kindness and dominance wears the mask of empathy. Machiavelli didn't die, he evolved. And his 21 rules, they've been reshaped for the boardroom, the algorithm, and the battlefield of perception. If you've ever felt like someone was pulling strings you couldn't see, if you've ever suspected you were being played, but couldn't prove it, this is your awakening. Welcome to the world of invisible control, where the game is real, the rules are brutal, and survival demands mastery. In an era dominated by social media and the relentless pursuit of visibility, the concept of power has undergone a significant transformation. Yet, if Niccolò Machiavelli were alive today, he would likely eschew the spotlight, choosing instead to operate from the shadows. His influence would be felt, not seen. His strategies implemented, not broadcasted. This approach aligns with the first rule: always let them underestimate you. By allowing others to perceive you as less capable or less threatening, you gain the advantage of surprise and the upper hand in strategic interactions. Machiavelli understood that overt displays of power often invite resistance. In contrast, subtlety and discretion can be far more effective. In today's context, where individuals are quick to showcase their achievements and assert their dominance, adopting a low-profile approach can be a powerful differentiator. By observing first and acting later, one can gather valuable insights and identify opportunities that others might overlook. This patience and restraint allow for more calculated and impactful actions. The modern world often equates visibility with success. However, true influence frequently operates behind the scenes. By controlling how others perceive you, you can shape their reactions and decisions. This control over perception is a cornerstone of psychological influence. When people believe they understand you, they let their guard down, making them more susceptible to your strategies. Thus, by maintaining an air of ambiguity, you keep others off balance and maintain the upper hand. In practical terms, this means resisting the urge to constantly share your thoughts, plans, or achievements. Instead, focus on listening, observing, and gathering information. Let others reveal their intentions and strategies while you remain an enigma. This approach not only provides you with valuable intelligence, but also positions you as a figure of intrigue and authority. People are naturally drawn to mystery, and by cultivating this aura, you enhance your influence. Embracing the role of the silent strategist allows you to navigate complex social and professional landscapes with finesse. By letting others underestimate you, you gain the element of surprise and the ability to act decisively when the moment is right. In a world obsessed with visibility, mastering the art of invisibility can be your greatest asset. A unified mind is dangerous. A clear vision, a focused group, or an undivided enemy, these are the seeds of resistance. Machiavelli understood this long before our age of smartphones and information saturation. But today, the power to divide has evolved into an art form. In a world overwhelmed by inputs, the one who controls the narrative doesn't need to silence his enemies, he simply needs to drown them in noise. The modern Machiavellian knows that control begins not with the sword, but with the screen. Feed them content, drama, distractions, and outrage. Give them 1,000 things to care about, and they will care deeply about none. When attention is pulled in every direction, the will to resist dissolves. A distracted mind cannot plot, cannot rebel, cannot even think clearly. It seeks comfort. It submits. Division is the most elegant weapon in psychological warfare. Create false dichotomies. Offer illusions of choice. Let them fight among themselves over surface-level issues, while you operate in the background, untouched and unnoticed. When two rivals argue, the third rises to power. When the crowd is divided, it begs for a leader to restore order. And when you become that leader, the architect of chaos and its solution, your control becomes absolute. Even within organizations, this rule holds. Divide departments, create internal competitions, introduce shifting priorities and ambiguous roles. Let your subordinates strive for recognition, not unity. Let them suspect one another instead of questioning you. Keep them competing for your favor, never secure, never complete. In division, you reign. This is not disorder for its own sake. It is calculated imbalance. Strategic misalignment. You must always remain the center of gravity, the quiet constant in a storm you manufacture. Let them exhaust themselves trying to make sense of a world you've deliberately made senseless. Confused people don't rebel. They obey. They search for clarity, and you give it on your terms. Power is not taken by force anymore. It is taken when others forget they ever had it. Divide their attention, and you divide their strength. Divide their strength, and their submission becomes inevitable. Language is not just communication, it is construction. Control the words people use, and you control the way they think. Machiavelli understood that perception is reality, but in the modern world, reality is manufactured not by swords or decrees, but by words repeated often enough to become truth. Words are tools, but they can also be chains. When you redefine concepts not through argument, but through repetition, you bypass resistance. People will not fight what they cannot clearly name. Redefine freedom as compliance. Redefine truth as consensus. Redefine virtue as obedience. Do this subtly, and you'll never need to censor. They will censor themselves. Modern tyrants don't burn books. They flood the system with euphemisms. Surveillance becomes safety. Manipulation becomes marketing. Censorship becomes community guidelines. And the people, desperate to stay acceptable, adopt this language without realizing its cost. They repeat the slogans. They defend them. And in doing so, they enforce your vision of reality against one another. Do not argue facts. Reframe them. When someone resists your language, don't confront them, isolate them, call them outdated, offensive, irrational. Let them feel the burn of social exile. Soon, they will either comply or be cast out. And once they are gone, the group itself becomes your enforcer. This strategy works in every sphere: politics, media, corporations, even friendships. Make people afraid to say the old words. Give them new ones, softer, vaguer, more malleable. Make your language feel compassionate. Make dissent feel cruel. The masses won't even realize that the definitions have changed, only that to stay included, they must speak the new tongue. This is how revolutions are prevented not by blood, but by linguistic pacification. When all opposition is rebranded as extremism, when all independence is framed as selfishness, when silence is reinterpreted as guilt, then you have achieved psychological mastery. People will adjust their thoughts to fit the words you've given them, not the other way around. Never forget, reality is not what is, but what is believed. And belief begins with language. Control the dictionary, and you will never need to control the people. They will police themselves. The crowd is dangerous. One man is manageable. If you seek control, you must never confront the group head-on. Instead, you dissolve it from within. The secret lies in isolation. Not physical solitude, but psychological disconnection. Make each person feel alone, exposed, and uncertain. That is where control begins. A collective has power, shared memory, shared language, shared defiance. But strip the individual of community, and he becomes vulnerable. Alone, he doubts. Alone, he obeys. So fracture the bonds, undermine trust, redefine connection, as risk make friendship feel dangerous, loyalty feel foolish, unity feel naive. Modern control does not use chains. It uses hyper-individualism. Flood the culture with narratives of self. Promote the myth of the independent mind and then manipulate it when it stands defenseless. A person who believes they are too unique to relate to others will never form a resistance. They will retreat into silence, mistaking loneliness for strength. Encourage comparison. Encourage envy. Promote curated illusions of happiness and success. Let people believe that everyone else is thriving and that their own struggles are shameful defects to be hidden. When people stop sharing pain, they stop bonding. And when they stop bonding, you've won. Divide them by labels. Create tribes, then pit them against each other. Make people identify more with their category than their common humanity. Gender, race, politics, class. Weaponize these. Let each group feel perpetually attacked. Let every conversation feel like a battle. Soon, no one will listen. No one will unify. They will only defend, only accuse. And in the silence between them, you become the only voice they hear. Make dissent feel lonely. Make agreement feel safe. And if someone begins to awaken, surround them with noise. Drown their doubts in ridicule, mockery, or distraction. Make sure they never find others who think like them. The moment two free minds connect is the moment your power cracks. Isolation is not a prison cell. It is a mirror that reflects only fear. Keep them looking into that mirror. Make them question themselves, not you. They will beg for comfort, for certainty, for guidance, and you will offer it under your terms. Control begins with separation, from others, from history, from truth. Once they stand alone, their only choice is submission or madness. The most powerful form of control is not force. It is the illusion of freedom. A man who believes he is choosing will never question the options he is given. He will fight to defend his prison, so long as the bars look like doors. This is the art of manufactured consent. You do not need to silence the people, you simply guide their answers. Present two paths, both leading where you want. Let them debate, let them vote, let them scream their convictions into the void as long as the destination is yours. This is not control through domination. It is control through direction. Give them symbols, flags, teams, parties. Make them feel empowered by identity. Let them wear their side like armor. Then you control both sides, fund both voices, shape both narratives. Conflict becomes theater, and while they cheer and jeer, you write the script. Choice must be loud. Real power is silent. Let them argue over cosmetics while you shape the foundations. Let them demand changes that don't matter while you secure the levers they'll never see. If they want new laws, give them meaningless ones. If they want justice, offer spectacle. Give them the satisfaction of movement without destination. Most people don't want freedom. They want certainty. They want to believe they have agency, even if it's a mirage. So give them options. Give them rituals of choice ballots, brands, trending hashtags. Let them pick their poison. Just make sure you poured it. The trick is to bind their identity to their choices. Once a man chooses, he becomes invested. He will defend what he picked, even when it harms him. He will deny the trap because to admit it means admitting weakness. And nothing terrifies the average person more than admitting they were fooled. Let people fight over flavor, while you control the recipe. Let them feel the rush of decision, while you define what they can decide. This is the highest form of manipulation, when control is hidden beneath the skin of freedom. In the end, they will thank you for keeping order, for offering choice, for giving them a voice, even if it was one you scripted. The perfect prison is one where the prisoner guards the keys himself. In the dance of power, words are weapons, but they must be wielded with precision. The loudest voice does not command the most respect. Often, it is the one who speaks least, who holds the greatest influence. Silence is a form of control. When you withhold your thoughts, you create a vacuum that others rush to fill, sometimes revealing more than they intend. Silence breeds curiosity and uncertainty is a weapon you can exploit. The less you say, the more power you hold over the narrative. Think carefully before you speak, for every word released can be twisted or used against you. A single careless phrase can unravel months of meticulous planning. The wise strategist measures each word as though it were a coin, valuable and limited. Strategic silence is also a shield. In moments of confrontation, speaking less disarms your opponents. They may overreach, expose weaknesses, or lose their composure while you remain calm and collected. This silent patience is often mistaken for weakness, but it is a calculated strength that unsettles and confuses adversaries. But silence alone is not enough. It must be paired with the right words, delivered at the right time. When you finally choose to speak, your words must carry weight. They must be concise, deliberate, and impossible to ignore. A well-timed statement can shift allegiances, end conflicts, or plant ideas that grow unseen. Remember, silence is not absence, it is presence without noise. It commands attention by withholding it. It forces others to guess your intentions, question your motives, and reveal their own strategies. Powerful men speak less because they understand the value of listening. In silence, you gather information. You learn desires, fears, and secrets. You become a master of the unseen game, operating from the shadows while others flail in the light. Strategic silence is a form of psychological warfare. It is the calm before the storm, the pause that disrupts rhythm and unsettles minds. It is a weapon of patience, control, and restraint. In the world of power, sometimes the greatest victory comes not from what you say, but from what you choose not to say. In the ruthless world of power, your reputation is your fortress. It precedes you, shapes perceptions, and creates invisible barriers that protect you from attacks. To be untouchable is not just about strength or cunning. It is about the careful cultivation of your public image, a legacy of invincibility that others fear to challenge. Your reputation is your currency in the marketplace of influence. Once forged, it can open doors, command loyalty, and deter enemies. But building such a reputation requires relentless attention to detail and consistency. Every action, every interaction, every word must reinforce the identity you want the world to believe. The truly powerful know that reputation is fragile. A single scandal, a moment of weakness, or careless behavior can shatter years of careful work. Thus, they guard it jealously, controlling the narrative around them and surrounding themselves with loyal agents who protect their image. To become untouchable, you must also embrace your fears and flaws, but never expose them recklessly. Instead, transform your vulnerabilities into strengths. Use them to craft a story of resilience and relentless determination. People respect those who overcome adversity, not those who pretend to be flawless. Furthermore, cultivate an aura of mystery and unpredictability. When others cannot easily read or predict your moves, your reputation gains a mythic quality. This mystique feeds the imagination, elevating you beyond the realm of ordinary men and making challenges to your authority a dangerous gamble. Reputation also requires strategic generosity and calculated alliances. By bestowing favors wisely and publicly, you create debts and obligations that bind others to you. The art is to appear magnanimous without seeming weak, to give enough to gain loyalty but never so much that you lose control. In times of crisis, your reputation will be your shield. When others doubt or attack, a strong reputation can turn enemies into hesitant observers and uncertain allies into fervent supporters. It is the armor that protects your power, often without you needing to fight. Remember, power is perception. When you command respect before a word is spoken or a battle is joined, you occupy a place no one dares invade. To be untouchable is to be the master of that perception, an invincible force shaped by the relentless cultivation of your reputation. Forge it with patience, defend it with ruthlessness, and wield it with strategic brilliance.